The Crimson Kingdom. A land with a past of tragedies and miracles. And I should know, I've seen it all. And that's not an exaggeration. I've seen every war, every discovery, and have met nearly every leader that guided this kingdom. Seems impossible, right? For someone to live for this long and remember almost every event this kingdom had to go through? Well, there's a reason for that. What I'm about to tell you is a story that many people believe was written at the beginning of time. This is untrue, but I get the misunderstanding. This story does start at a very early point in time, I'll give you that, but not the beginning. This was an era where there were only two intelligent species in all of reality. The powerless humans, beings that would eventually evolve and differentiate from one another, whether one family line stays purely human, or their descendants change into a completely different species. Powerless humans are considered the base of mortality. Then there are the true gods. These guys protected us from the one thing that could have led to our inevitable downfall, ourselves. Each true god held a special attribute that they used to give us what we need to survive and grow. Though they never truly spoiled us, they only helped us when we absolutely needed it, so people still needed to work for things like food and shelter. That's where I come in. I was raised in a family of farmers in a small town called Jetterson. My mom would feed the cattle, my pop would tend to the garden, as me and my twin brother Jet would take care of the inside work. You know, cleaning, polishing, and all that kind of stuff. My old man never trusted us with his equipment nor let us work in the garden anyway. He said we do nothing but screw it up. I don't necessarily blame him though, gardening was never my thing anyway. Since we didn't have much chores nor were we outside very often, we had a lot of time to ourselves. I think this is how we led to a discovery that would change everything for us. I'll be honest, we fiddled with things we shouldn't have most of the time, but I think it was worth it. For one day, we discovered a new type of power, the power of magic. I couldn't tell you how exactly we did it since I don't fully remember, it's been so long after all. I know it was after we did something with a pocket watch and some weird hand gesture Jet was doing. Oh, by the way, he was sort of a hand talker, if you know what I mean. You know, the type of guy who pours movement into every word he makes. I remember trying to mimic it, but my performance was a little sloppy. I'd ask him now, but I don't even think he remembers. Once word got out about this little discovery, we were immediately sent over to the Crimson Kingdom. Apparently, word got out so quickly that even the King of Crimson Kingdom wanted to speak with us. We were both excited and nervous. We weren't sure how he was going to react. For all we knew, he might have seen our new powers as a sin and wanted to put us on the death penalty. It was a different time after all. All my brother said to help calm me down was, "Only time will tell." We were taken to the castle, which was heavily guarded at the back of the kingdom by a cliff over top of the Red Sea. Once brought inside by the guards, we saw others kneeling in front of the king. Some of them were very odd in shape. Keep in mind, this was when the only mortals who walked on the land were the powerless ones. So we shouldn't even be seeing things like walking furnaces or mermaids or anthropomorphic birds. Yet, here they were. It turns out they made the same discovery that we did, but just in a different form. Jet and I kneeled before the old and wise King Yartage and his knights. Surprisingly enough, he wasn't angry with any of us. Instead, he congratulated us on our discovery, saying how we brought a new hope to the Crimson Kingdom. He interviewed every single one of us, and once he was done, he gave us an offer we could never refuse. He asked if we could stay within the Crimson Kingdom to teach his soldiers the power of magic. In return, we'd receive new homes and riches beyond our wildest dreams. We all, of course, took his bargain immediately. Construction had just started for our new homes in a building that the king simply referred to as the hotel. So until it was complete, we had to stay in the castle. Hey, I would have taken anything. Jet and I said half of our new riches to Ma and Pa so they could relax, though we never got a reply back from them. We thought that maybe they felt betrayed that we decided to stay within the Crimson Kingdom. I wasn't sure, but we would get our answer soon. As we were teaching a group of soldiers the basic fundamentals of magic, which we admittedly didn't know that much of, we began to hear screams coming from the outside. Some were shouting how the stars were falling or something. No matter what we heard, we still wanted to check on our people. We quickly got ourselves out of the castle only to see the majority of the kingdom already in ruins. We saw what the people had been referring to, but these were not stars, nor meteors. They were body parts. Even though we had never seen them in person, we knew who these parts belonged to. It was not stars that were falling from the sky. It was corpses. Corpses of our righteous true gods. Who would do something like this? How could something like this even happen? The true gods were immortal beings, so how could they even be killed in the first place? We were all frozen in fear as we witnessed the culprit's entrance. The only thing that could kill a true god was another true god. The last remaining true god had descended down to the Crimson Kingdom, howling as a threat and writhing in place only to make a statement. This was True Fear's land now. True Fear. The true god of fear itself. The king's soldiers all fell to their knees as they screamed in agony. Simply seeing True Fear's form led many men to madness. For some reason, we who discovered the power of magic were immune to the effects of the sight. Don't get me wrong, we were all terrified, but we could at least control our bodies at will. We decided to stand and fight. The Engineer of Heat fired his blasters, and the Maiden of Frost attempted to freeze True Fear in place. The Knight of Light tried to blind the godly menace as the Juggernaut of Earth wanted to crush him with a seismic boulder. He was a true god after all, so this shouldn't have been too surprising, but it was still disheartening nonetheless. The battle was going nowhere, and it seemed like True Fear was getting impatient. His movements became more violent and frantic. We couldn't keep this up. Eventually, we got tired out, and this nightmare creature would try and crush us in our fatigued state. This is when we saw an array of colors come from the castle. All of us, including True Fear, turned to see 13 lights ringing around a woman dressed in all black. Her body was covered in a long black hood, and the only thing we could see was her mouth. She swung her arm to the side, demanding the lights to charge forward. Their speed was impeccable. It was almost as if a rainbow had been separated, but the colors still pushed anyway. Once behind True Fear, they came together to form a colossal-sized scarlet door that swung its doors open. James, glowing in the same colors, exited the door as these lights surrounded True Fear. He tried to shake them off, but their grip was already tightened. He writhed and squirmed violently while howling in rage, attempting to break free. This once unstoppable force was being pulled into the door with ease. We were all in a state of shock as we witnessed the door slowly close. True Fear let out one last roar that faded out into silence once the doors had completely shut. These same chains surrounded the door as 12 locks materialized to keep them in place. We were already overwhelmed with the discovery of magic, but this was something else. We turned to see the woman in black standing right in front of us. She smiled and congratulated us for our bravery. To stand up to fear itself and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. She put her arms out and gave us her lights. On closer inspection, these weren't just lights. They were perfectly shaped jewels that emitted light. She told us that these were the keys of reality. Each representing an element that were considered the building blocks of reality itself. She told us that these crystals won't give us complete control over these elements, but they will make us stronger. These keys also gave us eternal youth, as she wanted us to protect these elements for as long as we lived. On that day, we went from Guardians of the Crimson Kingdom to Guardians of Reality itself. Giving off one last smile, the woman faded away, never to be seen again. A strange red cube then surrounded the door. We weren't sure if this was the woman's doing or the door's, but we knew what we had to do. We had to rebuild the Crimson Kingdom and finish the hotel, which was moved to be directly under that cube we called the Red Room and True Fear's prison. From then on, we protected every generation from harm and perfected our powers. We saw many generations come and go, tragedies and miracles, and even after so many years, we still get surprised by something new every now and then. Now we stand together in Hotel Room 103, watching down to our people, wondering what's going to come next. As Jet would say, only time would tell.